Darren has been my guy for the last, 3 years. And I mean, you see it on the bottom of the screen. I mean, he's a great human being, great friend of mine. Josh is someone I'm very excited for. He's working extremely hard to get in the best shape that he can be in, because he knows that, with all these weapons, maybe he'll have a lot of games where, teams are just going to say, all right, well, Josh, you beat it.
Looking back on it, I'm like, I want to make sure every opportunity is there for all of my guys to get signed. I want to make sure there's every opportunity. Like, yeah, I mean, I took sacrifices. Everyone just looks at certain numbers and like, why would you do that? Well, first of all, get your hand out of my pocket. That's number one. You take less at your job. You know what I mean? But number two was, we did anyway, to make sure that guys like Hunter have an opportunity. Not saying it's going to get done, but have an opportunity to get, what they need. Foster, Darren, all these guys. I don't know. I'm just, whoever's out there, like whoever needs help. The big thing to me was like, there were certain things that were important to me. And after that, I was like, I'll keep my guys together. I don't care how we do it. Let's just make it to where at the end of the day, I'm fine. My family's protected in their future. But at the same time, we can protect and take care of my teammates' futures too.
Las Vegas Raiders quarterback Derek Carr on Darren Waller, and then also a little bit on Josh Jacobs from the NFL Network, hoping to get some type of extension for Darren Waller. That's what a lot of Raider Nation is worried about and thinking about. And when you're going into training camp right now, July 18th it starts, veterans come July 20th. The two biggest question marks is like, what is the future of Darren Waller with this team? Will he have an extension in place? Will he show up? I mean, yes, you'll be fined if you don't show up to training camp, but that's kind of a way that players get extensions, is they don't show up to things that are mandatory. Will he show up? He was asked about this on All Things Considered. Here's what he had to say.
Miss any time training camp or anything like that, it's safe to say.
That's not in my plans.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but the main thing that comes to my mind is, why not just say, yo, I'm not going to hold out. I'm going to for sure show up. Instead, he says it's not in his plans, which is a weird way to word it. It's a weird way to word it. I hope he shows up. I hope there's an extension in place, but look, I can't lie to you. That was weird to me. That was weird to me, okay? And so PFF actually did a story about what are the best contracts in the NFL? What are the best bargains in the NFL, the best deals in the NFL? And obviously Darren Waller is at the top of the list. And for the Raiders, he's considered the best contract with the Raiders. He's making roughly $7 million a year, has 2 more years left, this year and next year. And like, here's the reason why Darren Waller is the biggest story, because we know that when he's healthy, he's probably arguably the best tight end in the NFL. I mean, I think he is. I think if you talk to Andy Reid in a confessional booth, at Catholic Church, and you ask Andy Reid, would you trade Travis Kelce for Darren Waller? Andy Reid, he's not going to sin. I think he would say yes. He would have to tell the truth. He's not going to lie to a pastor like that, right? So I think he would admit it and not lie to the priest and say yes. So I would rank Darren Waller number 1. But here's the reason why this is such a big issue and this is such a big deal, is because the question that you have to ask yourself when you're talking about Darren Waller and the Raiders is, do we really think, is Darren Waller going to play this year making less money than Cleveland Ferrell, right? Like making less money than Hunter Renfrow. Is that what's really going to happen this year? Maybe. If so, I mean, you got to thank Darren Waller for that. But Derek Carr said off the top, he signed his contract in a way to make sure that these extensions can happen. And maybe Derek Carr is the key to getting something done with Darren Waller. Maybe he set this up long ago and it's just taking some time to put it all in place. So we saw him lobby for a Foster extension, Hunter Renfrow extension, Derek Carr did lobby for, and then it happened. And who knows? He probably lobbied for Devontae Adams trade, and then that happened. So clearly, Derek Carr has pull in this organization. Just like he said earlier, he signed a team-friendly deal. There's no denying that he has a team-friendly deal. I believe his cap hit is $24 million this year, not making that much money for being a top 10 quarterback. And then next year, it only goes up to $33 million, and then around $40 million the year after. And so really, it's a flexible contract. It's a team-friendly contract, and it is a contract that doesn't break the bank. Look at the Chiefs with Mahomes. This guy's making $50 million a year. That's why you can't keep Tyreek Hill when you have a quarterback making $50 million a year. Really, you can't. can't. And I cannot wait to see the Chargers sign Justin Herbert because he's going to make $50 million a year, north of that. And then Russell Wilson, keep in mind, he is on the last year of his contract. He's going to be asking for a ton of more money. A lot of people say it's going to be north of $50 million a year. He wants Mahomes money, and that's what's going to happen. Thankfully, the Raiders have Derek Carr, a guy who's been in the league for 9 years, the guy who's made some money in 2017. He broke the bank and was one of the highest paid quarterbacks with that north of $120 million deal. And now he's just trying to win. So you saw off the top, trying to keep the band together. How do you keep the band together? Can you keep Darren Waller as a part of this team? And is Josh Jacobs, in the future of this team? Is he part of the future? Is that somebody who you took a team-friendly contract to sort of re-sign? Because guess what? Josh Jacobs, yes, he had a down year the first half of last year, but you cannot tell me that, it's all his fault. I mean, our offensive line was horrible last year. There's no doubt about it. It's a bad O-line last year. And unfortunately for the Raiders, we pretty much had the same O-line this year as last year, besides Dylan Parham. Well, you get Dylan Parham, so we got to upgrade there. Who knows? Who knows if that's going to work out? Either way, Josh Jacobs, a lot of people say that Derek Carr sort of carried this team towards the end of last year. And, people say I'm whiny and whatnot. I just kind of like facts, man. I just like the truth. And I just really don't think you could say that when you're looking at the past 3 regular season games that the Raiders played. Let me give you some numbers. In the last 3 games of the season, last 3 regular season games, Jacobs had 324 yards, averaging over 100 yards a game. And Derek Carr had 642, averaging just 214 yards a game. If you throw less than 250 yards a game as a quarterback in the NFL today, I mean, that's not good. That's not good. Granted, we didn't have a great O-line. It's a bad O-line last year. Carr still had some weapons, I will say. You got a $16 million slot receiver last year, basically. So you probably should have had some more production than that. But instead, luckily, we had Josh Jacobs. And this organization and this move that Josh McDaniels has made to decline Josh Jacobs' 5th-year option, I'm skeptical of it because really you're kind of disregarding the skill of Josh Jacobs. And you're also assuming that he's going to just give it his all this year, even though you're giving him no future guarantees, even though he's basically, out there in the deep sea, not knowing what the future holds for himself. And if you are Josh Jacobs, do you really want to put it all on the line this year? Because think about it. Plenty of teams right now, I think, would sign Josh Jacobs based off his performance in 2019, based off his performance in 2020, based off what he did at the end of last year. Because think about it. We don't go to the playoffs without Josh Jacobs. I mean, that last game against the Chargers, Jacobs on 3rd and 5 gets that long run, allows us to kick the game-winning field goal, push us into the playoffs, not doing some stupid tie shit where the Chargers get into the playoffs too. But maybe the Raiders would have had better luck against the Chargers in the wild card than the Bengals. Who knows? Either way, we haven't really heard from Josh Jacobs at the minicamp, at the OTAs. Josh Jacobs has not spoken at the press conference and hasn't really had an opportunity to say anything because the moment that he steps up there on that podium, what are the beat reporters going to ask him? They're going to say, how are you feeling after getting your 5th-year option decline, despite being, in my opinion, one of the top 8, sometimes top 5 running back in the NFL, at least 2019 and 2020. That's undeniable. 2021, obviously a down year, but how do you feel, right? And and the team doesn't want that drama. And that's exactly what will be asked the second he steps onto that podium, right? It's tricky. If I'm Josh Jacobs, do I want to risk getting hurt this year for a team that's not going to extend me, into the future? And then I ruin my chances of testing the market in free agency and the 2023 offseason. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of risky, right? And I think if Jacobs has a limited role this year and doesn't play that much, maybe it is in his best interest to stay healthy, to sort of maybe just stay safe so you can test the market in 2023. Who knows? Hopefully Derek Carr can maybe try to pull some strings and try to keep Jacobs on this team along with Waller, since he did take such a team-friendly deal. I think that's the right move to make. I think it's a smart move to make. Unless Zamir White ends up being, as talented as Jacobs, who knows? I mean, Jacobs was great his rookie year. I mean, it is quite possible, especially at the running back position. But we'll see what the future holds for this team, whether or not Darren Waller will be extended soon, whether or not Josh Jacobs is in the plans for the future, and also Foster Moreau. What is up with that? I mean, Foster Moreau was on the last year of his contract. Derek Carr mentioned him at the top that we showed that press conference from when he signed his contract extension. Foster Moreau could easily be extended, maybe even before Darren Waller, because a lot of people say, hey, Darren Waller, you're on a 2-year deal. I mean, you got this year and next year. Moreau's on a 1-year deal. Technically, Moreau would be priority. However, when you're as talented as Darren Waller, you get extensions even if you have contracts on the books, because that's just the way it goes. If you know other teams would pay you that amount of money, you can hold out and you can get some cash. You can get some cash in that scenario. And maybe, especially if the Raiders extend Foster Moreau before Darren Waller, that can cause a lot of problems where Darren Waller might force his hand too. But hopefully he's a team player, wants to stay with the Raiders. Who knows? And it's not all on him. It could be his agent. I mean, you have these other people pulling strings. Khalil Mack. What if Khalil Mack wanted to be a Raider? We don't know. I mean, there were reports, especially John Gruden said he wanted to be the highest paid defensive player. Who knows how much of that was his agent or if it was Khalil Mack? We don't know. We don't know. And these agents can have a huge influence on these players. But time will tell, and hopefully everything works out with the Las Vegas Raiders. My name is WiFiWillie. Like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the Raiders Rundown for more Raiders news and content. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.